Hello, and welcome to the We Are Power podcast. If this is your first time here, the We Are Power podcast is the podcast for you, your career, and your life. We release an episode every single Monday with listeners in over 60 countries worldwide, where you'll hear personal life stories, top-notch industry advice, and key leadership insight from amazing role models. As We Are Power is the umbrella brand to Northern Power Women Awards, which celebrates hundreds of female role models and advocates every year. This is where you can hear stories from all of our awards alumni and stay up to date with everything MPW Awards and We Are Power. Well, this week, we're in for quite the ride, I think. I am delighted to be joined by Calvin Eden Arcochois, the founder and brand director of Loud Speaker, which you founded back in 2019 with your buddy, who's not here.
Who's not here.
Yeah, but here in spirit, right?
Exactly. He's with us. He sends his love.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on the We Are Power Couch. Now, what you do is absolutely epic. It feels like it's something I want to do every day. You go to work with unicorns. You amplify voices. You give people, our young generation, the opportunity to have their voice heard. Tell us about Loudspeaker.
And hope. Firstly, thank you for having me. I've got
sure.
this is great. And it's a blessing to be here because truthfully, you don't really understand how great what you do is until you're actually doing it and someone actually says it. So to do something like this for me is like, oh wow, like someone sees the great work that we try and do. Going to work with unicorns and cardboard cutouts of David Attenborough.
And The Rock, I heard.
And The Rock's been, we've had to let him go actually.
Oh no.
He's too big to fit in our car. But he's great. I guess Loudspeaker is the organization that goes all around the country, into your school, into your institution, and we basically give your young people hope. We try and raise aspiration through building confidence, through communication skills, resilience, teaching them entrepreneurship, telling them our stories and hearing their stories. We just give them a voice. We give them the platform to be able to do that, and they engage with us through these workshops that are crazy. And I'm talking like crazy. You walk in a room, there's tunes on, it's going off, there's confetti cannons popping for no reason. Someone is leaving with a big box of Cocoa Pops for no reason. But they go, wow, it just makes you so grateful to be there. It's amazing.
Is it like bongo bingo for public speaking?
Truth be told, hopefully Johnny doesn't send me a fine here. But
you know what? Yeah. We're not having another law thing, no.
No, Johnny's a good guy. I know Johnny. I've met him a good few times in my life. He's a good guy. And this is funny because I actually saw him 6 months ago on Egbert High Street and I forgot to tell him. He is actually the reason why we were inspired to do things the way we do it. Because obviously, he works in the field that he works in. His market's untouchable. But for us, it's engaging young people, and we want to give every kid a voice. But you need to engage with these young people in a way that's going to make them want to be here. They're young at the end of the day, right? The attention span is quite short. So you need something to keep their mind going. And that thing that works is always prizes. It's that music. It's that energy. So we take that concept of energy, vibes, and so on and so forth from Johnny's thing, and we put it into education without playing bingo, just by teaching young people stuff,
It's amazing. And you say you are the big C and you bring the energy. And that energy is so important, isn't it? It's contagious, right?
Yeah, and energy is the most important thing, right? It's how someone makes you feel. That's what you want them to remember, right? So the energy that they latch onto is the thing that's going to make them stay. I vibe with to give you some categories, back in the day they'd call it the nerds, but I vibe with the nerds because I realized that they're just called nerds because I can't read. So they're and then I got the emo kids who got 25 piercings. They're and they were mates by the end of it. And it's just showing them that we don't have to be from the same walk of life to be able to vibe. And that's really, really key. It's one of my biggest skills in life. So much so that they nicknamed me Big C. there is a background story to that as well. I do have a friend. I'm going to shout her out, Lauren Zoe Carter. She's an artist. She, we was on holiday one time and I was walking past and she literally went, man, Big C, how you doing today, man? I was like,
I'll have that.
Oh my God, that's coming home with me. And then I started telling the young people it. And obviously you work with so many young people now. I see them in like the barbers and I'll be in like Asda, they'll be with their mum and they'll be like, Big C, what are you saying? And their mums are looking at me like, who is this man that knows my child? But then they tell him, oh, I did a workshop with me. And it's amazing, man. It's amazing. That name has really flourished.
And it is, you talk about it being one big idea, 2,000 workshops, thousands and thousands or hundreds of thousands of learners, right? You must be super proud.
Oh man, I sitting here today, like 5 years into this thing, I look back and I'm like, how? Like when you start something, you don't ever think it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And you start to get a bit of belief. I mean, I don't want to take up too much time, but like if we take it back to the beginning.
Let's do it.
All right, let's go there.
We've got 2
All
days.
right, we're going
Part
left,
one,
we're going
Calvin,
right.
come on.
We're doing it. We're left and right. All right, let's go left. Let's go back. Like we're talking lockdown. We're talking me and Oba, my co-founder, who you'll never see on video. We're like living together. Like my friend owns this big Airbnb that sleeps like 16 people. And obviously he's not busy. So we were like, if we're going to do our lockdown, let's get out of my house and let's go and move into a big house. So we moved into this big house. Not joking. We bought green screen, cameras, tripods, and we basically tried to replicate what our producers got now, the budget version. And we basically started like making content for people to show the kids because the kids were at home and they were struggling to learn because they're listening to a teacher, but they're not really engaged. So the organization that we were working with at the time, which is called NCS, the National Citizen Service, which is no longer a thing, sadly, they were contacting us like, hey, can you do some stuff digitally? We were coming on this, imagine being on the screen, there's some guy talking to you. He's like, okay, guys, what is going on? We're going to do an icebreaker. You're going to run to your toilet and get toilet paper and bring it back. The first person gets the prize and we'd send them the prize in the post. And then we do some workshops. We do confidence stuff. And then, of course, lockdown ends, right? And then we're like, what are we going to do now?
And you got to move out the Airbnb, right?
And we have to move out the Airbnb because if not, we're going to pay some serious numbers, right? And at this point, there's not much income coming in. But what does happen is we get out and all these people start going, what you did for them kids online, I've never seen them engage like that before. And like, they don't want to come to school, but now they want to come to school. Can you do it face to face? At the time, we had no idea what we were doing. I was like, yeah, I think. For the first 6 months, imagine we're doing it with visors on, you know, because of COVID, the face masks, all of that stuff. You know, you got social distance, and then we had the ping era where it was like, oh my God, people got to go home, so you'd have to shut down programs. But we found the way. We found the way, and of course, 100 young people becomes 5,000, 5,000 becomes 20,000. And today it sits at like 200 and something thousand young people across the nation who have engaged with what we do.
And we're like, it's 5 years, isn't it? And that you were talking about at the moment, the anniversary of the first lockdown, but also the impact that it had on our future generation, the impact that it's still having on now, those that were either in college or uni or in school, the impact is going to be ongoing, but let's look at the positive. I don't know whether this is left or right, whichever we're going forward, right? Central. But you must be so proud of the impact that you made on those young people that you interact with, right?
Yeah, so proud. Like, sometimes I sit there and I get emotional because I'm like, I'll get a message like on Instagram at like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Then at first it was pretty normal. Then we started getting like thousands of messages from these kids. That was the best day of my life. Mentally, I didn't feel myself, but you've made me feel like I can be myself. And I want to tell my story. And if I ever become successful one day in life, always remember that it was because of what you've just given me. And of course, you're looking at messages like that. I'm like tearing up thinking to myself, that's some random kid called Ben from 300 miles away has just gone out of his way at the young age, 16 or so especially. You know, they don't necessarily like to communicate with society. You know, big up the 16-year-olds though. I love them. But like they don't necessarily really like to engage with things. So when they are engaging with you, it's because they genuinely care. And to get those messages, like it made me feel like you're doing the right thing. And now I start my workshops. I don't start a workshop without telling people 3 things. Number 1, why it's a great day to be alive, just because we are alive. Number 2, that I support Man United, but we don't have to go there.
Oh dear, Calvin, so soon.
And then number 3 is the fact that like every day I wake up and I get out of bed, and the reason why I work so hard is because I get to see them, and I don't know who I'm going to meet or who's going to tell me something or what they're going to enjoy about the session with me. But whatever they get from it is I'm grateful for it.
Aren't people the best thing in the world?
Yeah, the best. And you know who's really proud? My mum. She's so funny. I'm sorry.
What is she most proud of? Is she like, Calvin? What? And where did this? Your mum's from the Ivory Coast, right?
Yeah, from the Ivory Coast, man. Like, I'm one of like, on my dad's side, I'm like one of like 7 or something. On my mum's side, I'm one of 3, right? And my mum is so funny because I know for a fact I'm her favorite child. And I know this is naughty, right? But I know
for your siblings out there.
I'm telling you now, siblings, I'm sorry. I am her favorite child. I'm the one where she's like, I've got children, but see my little son, that guy's good. He's like, that guy is built different. He like talks to kids. Sometimes she shows people photos, news articles. She's like, my son is the man. Like, but it's so funny because she was like the typical parent that was like to me, oh, my son, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer, my son. And if you are nothing else, then what have you done? And like, I'll never forget the day I convinced my mum that it was sustainable. I took her on oh man, I'm about to reveal the truth here. I took her on, this is so bad. I was like, Mum, pack your bags. I've made loads of money. I've done really well. But more importantly, I've done great work and I'm going to reward you for it. I'm taking you to France. Pack your bags. We'll go into Toulouse. I'll pay for everything. Do you know how much that flight cost me? £35 return.
But it was done with love, right?
It was done with love. And I never told her this, but that holiday was cheap, man. And we had a nice time. She was eating her mussels. She was like, wow, son, you really must be doing well. I was like, so good.
The most expensive meal treat you will have ever had. D'accord.
Yeah, exactly. I was out there like, oui. Sorry, mum. But yeah, like she's proud of everything that we do. And my mum's a big believer in religion. And her sort of way of being able to stay connected to me and give me back, as she always says, I pray for you, or I've prayed for you. So that's enough for me, man. And as long as she's she's able to not work now and stuff. And I love her, man. I love her. She's great.
Has she always been like a big role model for you? Like a
Single
guiding
mom.
light, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a thing, like, but I don't know. Like in our culture, like mums are a big thing. Like West African culture, mums are like, I could never, for example, there was a thing that she taught me growing up with people's parents. Like I could never talk to anyone's parents in a rude way. I just have this thing for parents where I respect them so much. I make sure when I go to my friend's house, I call their mum auntie, their dad's uncle. Like it's just that thing, right? So, because obviously for her, she was a single mum. Like, she did every job under the sun just so she could maintain, us a healthy lifestyle. Like I never felt as a kid that I went without. I only realized that how poor we were and how rough the neighborhood was from when I was a teenager. But when I was a kid until that point, I was just like, mate, I'm living the dream, mate. I get anything I want. I could, today I get a meal and and it was like the little things. So watching her sort of struggle and then seeing, some of the things that she went through, I said like I was never going to stop until I was able to do something for her. And I'm still in that mentality now. It's not over, she's at that point now where she's like, oh, maybe I should move back to Ivory Coast because, you're old now, you're going to have a family one day soon and that. And yeah, so yeah, everything I do, she's for the young people, for my partner and for her as well. So it's nice.
And when you were growing up, obviously your mum, wanted you to be a doctor, right?
Yeah.
What did you want to be? Did you know? Because the kids that you're coming across now and the young people that you're coming across, like 78% of our young folk don't know what they want to do. I mean, I'm still working out what I want to be when I grow up, Calvin. Maybe you can help me with the unicorn, yeah?
You can, me and you can do a joint venture
Let's
together.
Do it. Come on, kick it off now.
I think you'd be sick. I did. I wanted to play football. And I know that's like...
Me too. But I wanted to play for Everton, right? I know, don't fall out with me right now. Come on.
I like Everton.
No joint venture anymore, that gone?
No, we can still do it. We still got the... Nah, actually, I'm going to have to reconsider that one. I don't know.
Come on. Come on.
I love Everton. I actually worked at Everton in the community.
It's a therapy session for me too, right?
No, okay. Why did you do it? I'm joking.
Growing up near a football ground. No, go on. It's over to you. Go on. No. So you wanted to play football?
Yeah, I did. Because I was actually really good. I was so good at football. I was big. You know? Like, I was scary. Like if you saw me running towards you, you were going to move out of the way, you know? But it was one of them. It's make or break, right? Because you have to either make it really quickly or not at all. And I did it quite well. You know, I played at academy level. I played first team football at a decent level. But the truth is, I wasn't dedicated enough. I wish I was as dedicated as I am to developing the young people as I was in football. Because right now I'll be in Saudi at Al Hilal with Ronaldo or Al Nasir doing millions. But I think I was put on earth to talk to the kids, man. I think I was put on earth to give them some reality.
That's your gift, right?
That's my gift.
It's your superpower.
It is. The art of making someone else feel good is my skill.
And have you always been this confident? I think sometimes confident we can overuse, but have you always been so passionate, enthusiastic, motivated? You are enthusiastic me.
Yes, I think so. Like, I think if you asked any of my friends from my old school life, I guess, they would say that I was pretty like out there, and I've always tried to be the life, you know. My mum's always said, like, you know, whenever you go places, people like feel like really happy and great, and you know, I just want to show love. I'm like, in a world where things can feel so dull sometimes, why would you not just show love? Like, you know, I don't know what you go through on a day-to-day basis. You know how many people I go up to on a day and just go up to them and be like, you look amazing, or you dress amazing, or mate, that hairstyle is giving, like, or I love them trainers, or just anything, because I don't know what they're going through. And you know, sometimes with the kids, I don't start a workshop. If there's 200 people in the room, I need to talk to 200 people before I start. I go to every single one of them, and Oba gets angry. He's like, mate, you're delaying the time of the content. That's not how he talks, but we're going to... He's like, stop delaying.
No, if he was here, he could defend himself, right? Oba, come on.
He's like, hurry up. He's like, deliver the content. Like, that's what they paid for. But no, because I'd go up to them sometimes and I'll shake their hands. I'll be like, look, if they look a bit nervous, I'll be like, I don't know what you're going through, but whatever it is, you're going to be fine. If you need anything, just let me know. And that kid will be like, thank you. I don't know if that kid's going to go home that day and be like, someone asked me how I am today. I didn't even say anything. They asked me how I am. And that kid will never forget you.
Be kind, right?
Be kind. Don't know why I whispered. But sorry.
We're still thinking about the price of flights, right?
Yeah. No. It's true though, right?
But there was a real challenge when you were growing up. 15-year-old, you lost a friend, right?
Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy. You know what's crazy about that, right? Is like people that, you know, I don't really talk about this bit too often. Like there's a whole bit of that I miss out, right? And there's my friend who obviously passed away, 15 years old, brutally murdered by knife. Good kid. Like proper nice kid. There's a weird anxiety in me when I tell that story, because I think about, like, you know, I know that we're kind of in some ways doing great stuff and people are watching. I always get anxious to talk about it because everyone has their opinions on you, right? And how you felt, but we all deal with things differently. But where I kind of pieced it together is I understood that no one really taught me how to mourn. And actually the way I deal with it is the way I deal with it. And like talking about it helps, because actually I can tell the story of a great man who probably had everything in front of him, but maybe a slight change in decision might have made life a little bit easier might still be here today. Yeah, he was stabbed. And And it wasn't really scary at the time. Like when I say scary at the time, I mean it was so normalized. Because growing up in like Edmonton, Enfield, it was, people were stabbed, like people were shot. Like it's real. And it frustrates me because I go to some areas, maybe some rural areas, and people watch YouTube and they talk about all this stuff like, oh, shank this, da da da. And I'm thinking to myself, mate, like here's me actually dealing with it, like, and you don't know what you're saying and how it's affecting me, but it does affect me. Like I've been in the workplace and people talk about stuff and I've been telling my story and people laugh. But I know it's not because they're mean, it's because they don't really know how to deal with it. I remember back then at the time, it was like, the question that people will ask you the most is, you all right? Like, are you okay? And no, I'm not.
We talk about, we're not taught how to mourn, are we?
Nah.
We're not taught how to have those conversations. So what helped you through that? Was there one person? Was it your mum? Was it your siblings? What was it that helped you? Was it just time?
You know what? My mum was too busy being my mum. So we didn't actually really get to talk about it like that. She was so focused on making sure that I was okay and I kept out of trouble, that it was like it wasn't brushed, but it was like we didn't really get to talk about it the way I guess I would have liked to have spoken about it. And I don't blame her for that. Like she's just doing the best for me. That's all she's ever done. My dad and his dad were close friends too. So we got to talk about it more, but not enough to kind of give me a bit of an up, you know? I guess the person who really saved me was a teacher. Her name was Kathy. She didn't even teach me. She would just encourage me to come to the clubs after school. And you know what's funny?
Yeah.
She told me to move to Liverpool.
There you go. I'm becoming a Man United fan. I'm just going to throw that in there. Seems a bit wrong, but
Yeah.
Why is that?
She came to uni here and she said to me, why don't you just start fresh? Just
Start
move
again.
somewhere else. And like I went to Liverpool and like the kids there, they're like, people would like you. Your personality would fit in very well. And sometimes you don't realize these little things that we say to people, how much they take. Because I took that and I did what she said. And I've never moved back. It's been 11 years since I've lived here.
I can hear that Scouse accent just coming through now, Calvin.
Yes. Sometimes it comes through, it's like...
Oh, my life.
I can't stop it.
Oh, my life.
Production man, don't edit this, mate. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, man, she was a rock for me. She actually made me feel like heard, and she taught me little things that helped me in my personal life. And, she made me feel like I had a chance at life and I didn't have to be that next person. Because for a long time, I did feel like I was that next person. To be honest with you, sometimes I felt like it's probably, I'm stuck in this bubble. I'm probably going to be the next person to get stabbed, or because you're just stuck in this environment of, and sad reality is I lost touch with most people. And I blamed myself for years. Like I thought, did I turn on them? Like, or like, why should I feel like the victim here? Like, or what, so many thoughts running through my mind. And I wish I could have a conversation with them, but life got in the way. But I tell you one thing, everything I do that's positive for the community, I always remember my friend. And I always shout him out. And I know he'd be proud of me if he was here. He'd be like, this guy, he done all right. Like, and he actually made a difference to hundreds of thousands of lives. And that's what keeps me up, keeps me going every day. So.
And I think it's really important because often when someone has got the energy and the passion and the light that you bring into any room, everyone thinks you're okay, and it's important to check in on the checkers, those people who are checking on all 200 kids in the room. It's important, isn't it? It's important to reach out. Not everyone's all over it. Sometimes we have a store, right?
Sometimes it's hard. Like, I always say this to people, I'm like, when you're trying to be the life all the time, like it's so easy for us to know you're not okay.
Yeah.
Because the minute you're silent, people go, you're not okay. Yeah. And sometimes you might just want a bit of brain space because you've been going through a lot. Like I'm feeling like that nowadays at the moment. I'm like, God, I can't always be the person who brings the like. Sometimes I just need someone to be like, yo, are you actually all right? Like, do you want to like, and I guess Oba's that person for me, we have heart to hearts and we have, I guess it's great when your best friend's your business partner. We have like really emotional chats sometimes and we're just like, and sometimes you just have to open up and just let it out. And, I can't say life is perfect. There's things that you're always working on but we're trying. And, like I said, I got this great support system at home as well. And my partner's part of what we do and part of the business. And it's like, we just got to...
But it's amazing. This business is now international, right? You're taking these conversations, not the unicorns overseas, I understand.
No.
And we know The Rock is retired. But, it's amazing. This is now a global business.
Yeah. Like, let's get into that. How do two black boys, one from Edmonton, one from Warsaw, take something like that and turn it into an international thing? Do you know the truth? This is so funny. We co-founded it with a couple of other guys. And we met them because they're in a similar space to what we do in the UK. And we were kind of like, we're in the same business. It's like, should we be competitors? And we'd see them at conferences. And I know it was a little bit like, we're like, oh my God, there's those guys. And we'd be like, there's those guys. And one day we sat down in Birmingham and we're like, I don't want no trouble, man. We should join forces.
For sure. And
we did. And we realized like, well, we don't need to, your thing is your thing, our thing is our thing. We don't have to poach each other's clients. We could work together if you want. It is what it is. But the main thing here is we're trying to empower young people. So let's do something together.
100%. The purpose is there, the passion is there, the intention's there. Crack on, play nice, right?
Exactly.
One last question. If you had a magic wand, you've gone in during COVID, during lockdown, during the new world of the business, you're changing kids' lives. Mm-hmm. What would you do with that magic wand?
I would. Wow, that is a good question. Okay, I got the answer. I would.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah, you got to do your job, Therapy's almost over. I would get two things. Personal development would be a mandatory in every single school, college, institution, any education around the world. Everyone. They have to do personal development. Well, whether it's working with us or the guys at Unlock or any guys like yourself, any organization that is doing anything to empower people needs to be front and center. Because the truth is, we're teaching a curriculum that's been taught the same way for the last hundreds and hundreds of years.
Shake it up.
Yeah, shake it up. Change it. Put some fresh energy in there and let's start looking at life skills and personal development because these young people today are far more likely to become successful entrepreneurs by starting a little company in their local area that does really well rather than becoming a mathematician. Stop playing it to the system and let's play it to our strengths. And secondly, this is the big thing. Corporate companies, put your hand in your pockets, mate. Like there are thousands of kids out there who need at that little bit of corporate social responsibility that you have, that little 50 grand you have left. Give it to organizations like us and organizations who are doing similar things to go into schools and do some workshops and help upskill. Because if all the corporate companies did that, we'd be fine. We'd be okay.
Because guess what? Your experience,
yes,
your energy, your expertise, not free.
It's not free. Exactly. We need to,
Calvin, Eden, a coachwa.
Yes.
You are a legend. Can't wait for our joint venture, even though, I'm not changing to be Man United. I'm sorry about that.
Have to. It's okay.
But Calvin, thank you so much for joining us. Your mum will be super proud.
Yes.
As would your friend. And I thank you so much for opening up to us today and look forward to our adventure.
Thanks for having me.
Subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a review or follow us on socials. We are power_net on Insta, TikTok and Twitter. Or we are power on LinkedIn, Facebook. And we are _power on YouTube.